jobs, answering internet questions. And the reason I think that it turned out to be was I feel like I have so much to say, and Craig is like, Jasmine, you're going to be with us for 5 days. Like, you will get through everything you need to say. So I definitely want to take time to answer online questions and also studio questions, because I know that Nate had a question that I didn't want him to ask until we were online, because it probably will be a really great question. No, I'm just kidding. No pressure, Nate. But we'll take a few people online first. So I don't know, do I turn to you guys or do I just turn to the screen, or how does that work?
Well, you can start with that one. It was one that I was perhaps going to ask you. So.
Okay.
And now it's gone.
Okay, did you ever think you'd get this big this fast? How do you keep yourself grounded? And that was from Raven Mathis. To be quite honest, I don't think I'm this big, and I don't think that it happened this fast, to be honest. I felt like to be this big is so, I don't know, it's so subjective. Like, I just think that I'm just Jasmine, a girl who's still following her dream and who's lucky enough to share it with other people in Seattle. What I am doing here is what I do every weekend. I'm shooting a wedding. And what I've done is invite people. Do you like that? Like, you like how I roll? Like, I put this all on. This production, it was all me. What happened was Creative Live and Chase Jarvis have enabled me to share what I do with other people. But it's still just me doing me. Like, so I don't, people at the grocery store don't know my name, so it's fine. Like, I don't ever think, when your checker knows who you are by name, then you're big time. And until that happens, I don't think I'm big time. So no, the answer is I'm just doing what I do. So, but I like it, I love it. My mom thinks I'm cool, which is a total awesome byproduct. She tells the ladies at church, have you seen my daughter's website? And I'm like, Mom, cut it out. You think I'm cool.
That's all that matters.
And we have saved
we have
tons
a ton
of questions.
Okay, great, because this is kind of making me a little...
It goes really fast.
Okay.
Fast, and then questions in the audience as well.
Great.
So, Susan, do you want to start with the chat room?
Yeah, I have a question that came up in the Spanish chat room, and I really wanted to ask this as well, because I've seen a lot of wedding photographers that use, for the family photos, they use the fisheye, or they're doing some tilt shift stuff in Photoshop, or they're using a lens baby. And I don't know if clients, they want the really conservative photos, or they're not interested in having a family portrait that is a fisheye lens. But there's kind of this, seems to be in the wedding industry, there's a lot of people that are, doing really alternative type of photography. And I don't know how that parlays into weddings, if you think that that's appropriate.
Well, you're probably asking the wrong person, because I think that I kind of do a twist on very traditional photography. Like, you can look through my blog or my online portfolio, and my pictures look very similar. Slight differences, but similar to what it looked like 2 years ago. I was never a fan of textures, and if you do textures, that's awesome. Rock it out. That's totally you. I've never been a fan of like a lot of filters and a lot of Photoshop, because I do think that, back in like 1984-ish, it was really cool to have your kid on a black background with one head looking this way and one head looking this way of the same child. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Like, that was really cool, like of two floating heads looking in different directions. And somebody in the world said, that's really cool. And when we look back at that, we're like, that is the funkiest thing we've ever seen. To me, I look at my grandparents' wedding photo that my mother still has framed to this day, that my sister, who's getting married in 2 weeks, will be taking to her wedding. And I think it is just a traditional portrait of two people who I hope were in love in Puerto Rico. And I feel like those are timeless. So, no, I wouldn't ever shoot a family formal with a fisheye or a lens baby. What a family wants simply is a photo of the family.
Good answer.
Cool. I'm like, silence. They're like, we disagree.
I have a question from Twitter. Laura Bracewell asks, do you always scope out and pick the shooting spots at the wedding venue reception before the wedding day, or ever on the fly?
That's Lori Bracewell. I know her.
Okay.
She came to my workshop. Hi, Laurie. I'll see you in D.C. in a couple weeks at the WPPI Roadshow. Okay. She asked if I go and I scope out the venue.
Right. Or do you ever do it on the fly?
Sometimes it's a mix. I do arrive to the wedding venue early so that I could scope the grounds. And even if I have shot there already, I try to go back and view the venue as if I'm viewing it for the first time. Because I'm not shooting at the exact same time of year and at the exact same time of day. The light changes depending on the year, specifically in Southern California, a lot during the time of year and the time of day. So I always arrive to the venue early to see what the day is doing and if it's like a cloudy light, if it's full sun, what's happening on that day. And do I sometimes choose locations on the fly? Yes, but for the most part, I do have a plan in mind. So last Saturday's wedding, JD and I got there a half hour early, which is what we do, and the property is massive. And I was like, oh my gosh, and she's getting ready in a villa on the opposite side of the venue, so I'm like hoofing it. Like, I went to her room, I dropped off my bags, and I didn't necessarily start. I like to start 10 minutes early, so I'm like, okay, I'll be right back. And I had to go and find out at least, at minimum, 3 locations of where I was going to take the clients ahead of time, because you can't just get there and be like, all right, let's just shoot. It's like, no, you have a big property, you have so much at your hands, you need to be in control of that from the beginning.
Great.
Awesome.
Audience question?
Well, the question I was just referring to before was, in terms of your Show It Plus sites, how does that work? Do you make websites that are designed specifically for your clients? Like, is their website they can point people to Facebook, they can put stuff up there? Or is it something that you design and you kind of push back towards your website?
So you can actually do both things. So I've created a plus site where it's unidirectional, so I put it up and then the clients can share it. And then there's other photographers who actually use the plus sites as like a wedding website for their clients. So their clients have access to update information, so they could use it as a traditional wedding website. So come see John and Jane's website, they can put up their RSVP information. The photographer can upload a gallery of his or her engagement photos from the session. So sometimes when you see these like wedding websites, it's like they put up like snapshots of them in college, and that's fine, but sometimes to have really nice showcasing of your photos is really great. So you can actually brand the website underneath your own name, which totally works for Google Juice, right? You want that type of thing. You want people searching. If their wedding is at the Montage in Laguna Beach, you know, anytime somebody searches for Montage Laguna Beach, it's going to have Nate Perk's name associated with that. So that's wonderful for Google Juice. So you have both options when creating a plus site. I did notice on Twitter during the lunch break, people were asking what specifically a plus site is. I have jasmine-star.com, and a plus site for me would be jasmine-star.com / whatever my clients' names are. That's how I've attributed to it. So my clients theoretically own a piece of the Jasmine Star URL, and I'm really proud for them to have that. So it's good. They like it. It works for them. Cool.
So Jasmine, how do you put people at ease in front of the camera, people that are camera shy?
Oh, this is great. This is a perfect question because I will also be dealing with this tomorrow, but I feel like I need to say it again and again and again. Okay, this is part of actually why I was so nervous about this shoot. I have seen myself on camera shooting people, and I am absolutely ridiculous. Positively, phenomenally ridiculous. I do whatever I possibly can to make people comfortable, and a lot of times it's at the cost of my dignity. I'm okay with that. I have now known that me being my ridiculous self gets people to be where they need to be. I love challenges. And when I get a couple who's never been in front of the camera professionally, to make them look and feel like models. Because I've worked with models, and there is a sense of gratification to say, okay, and there's just like boom, boom, boom. They know what to do with their bodies. They know how to be beautiful. So it kind of takes like the art of the chase. And so for me, if I have 2 people who just are a little bit uncomfortable, and then allowing them, empowering them to be really, really beautiful and confident. There's something so gratifying that I get out of that. So how I approach somebody, how I make them feel beautiful is bringing out that inner person. And I know that sounds so like deep and esoteric. I can only show people how I do it by doing it. And I think a lot of it comes by listening between the lines. What they're saying, how their communication, the way that they talk under their breath to each other. Can you please hold my hip? That means that she's uncomfortable. She's not feeling like herself. So if I heard this under the mouth thing, like, please hold my hip, it's, okay, now, Billy, can you please bring your body into Laura's and hold her hip? Anything like that to make her feel as if her idea was completely organic and something that I saw on my own is going to make them automatically more malleable. They're like 2 pieces of clay. If I could just work them in, and a lot of times I show people what I want. I get close to my grooms. It probably makes them uncomfortable. Whatever. I have 25 minutes, 30 minutes on a wedding day to get all the wedding photos that I need. I'm not gonna, sit there and like, no, move here. 1 centimeter this way. Tilt your neck. Do this. It's like, no, come here. Like JD is with me. I always say to the groom, listen, my husband's standing over there. I love him so much. I'm just gonna creep right in next to Billy. I will say this very thing to him. JD's here. I love him so much, but I'm gonna get nice and close to you, Billy, because I want to show Laura what I wanted her to do. I'm going to show her. And sometimes I feel uncomfortable because I make these weird faces to show my clients what I want them to do. I feel so stupid. It's like, how do you be cute on command? That's hard, but we want that from our clients, yet we won't show them. We won't show them what we want to do because they're going to think I'm dumb. Who cares? Like, show them, and then by you showing them, you're giving them permission to feel really beautiful. And I think that has only come from experience. And I'll talk and show a little bit about it tomorrow, but it's really embarrassing. Like, I say stuff, and then I look back at it in video, and I'm like, who is that person? It's like, oh, my God. But whatever, it is what it is. But if my clients are happy and they feel beautiful, then perfect. It's at the cost of who I am. Not who I am, no. I'm fine. The core of who I am is good. I just feel stupid. Whatever, it is what it is.
Well, I think it's great that you said that you would just show them.
Yes.
Because, I mean, people are visual, they're visual learners a lot of times, so they'll get it if you show them.
I hope so. Let's hope so. Okay, so probably we'll do like 2 more questions, if that's okay,
I have
Craig.
a question sort of on
Yeah,
that
Victoria.
same vein, just in terms of when you're doing group formals and group shots, how do you mix it up to always have something a little different without having sort of that firing squad lineup picture?
I do firing squad.
Yeah?
I feel like you'll see tomorrow. We're actually going to talk about that in a bit.
Okay.
So the fire squad is just an easy pose, and it makes everybody happy. It's the fail-safe pose. You don't have to do it, but I do it because it's 1, easy, 2, time sensitive, and then 3, it gives me an option. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit more, but remind me about the fire. I've never used it as a firing squad because it seems so
It just feels like that. I
rough.
don't know.
No, I'm just kidding. 1 more question?
I have a question from Cassandra MC on Twitter. She says, how did you connect with other local photographers when you started?
That's Cassandra McDaniel, and she went to my workshop too. Hey, I know. I love my workshop people. I love them. Like I started doing workshops about a year and a half ago, and I think we've had, JD, how many have we had? I don't know. Probably between 8 and 10. Yeah, between 8 workshops, 10 workshops. And
They love you.
Yes, they do, and I don't know why. They spent a day with me, and they still like me. I have no idea. But I love them. They're amazing. So what was the question? Sorry.
The question was about how to connect with other local photographers when you got started. So you talked about OSP, but
Yes.
is there
That's
anything else you did locally?
A great question. I actually, when I first started and I felt like I didn't have any friends, that sounded so pathetic. I don't have any friends. No, really. I stopped working part-time when I decided I wanted to go full-time, deep thoughts. And I was kind of by myself a lot, 5 days at home, and it's just me and Polo, and I was just like, okay, I need to get out. And so what I did was, a lot of the times the top-tier photographers won't give newbies the time of day, which I totally understand. Time is precious. So it didn't necessarily behoove them, this random person, to say like, okay, let's go out to lunch. So what I did was I looked around to other photographers who I found inspiring, who were had been shooting around the same time I'd been shooting, whose prices were around my prices, and whose visibility and busyness was around mine. And I reached out to 3 girls specifically, and I said, hey, I know that we're super busy, but it would be really nice if we grabbed some lunch. And all 3 of them responded in the affirmative. We met and had just a great lunch, and it was somebody just to be like, where are your prices at? Like, is it frustrating? Like, what do you do here? And then because we'd created such a good relationship, whenever I was booked, I know how much they cared about their clients and they took care of their clients, so I would send them, weddings if I was booked, and it worked vice versa. So just going out on a limb and asking people, and if somebody doesn't want to have lunch with you, no worries. You will find somebody else. So it's good.
Great. Thank
Good.
you.
Can I ask one more question?
Yes, of course.
When you first started, what is one thing that you wish someone would have told you, as far as a tip or a trick or something? Is there one thing that stands out in your mind?
Well, 2 things, I think. 1, I wish somebody would have told me to have fun. I was really, really, really worried. It's just my personality. I worry about worrying. If somebody would have said, take a step back and have fun with what life is throwing you. I was really, really, really worried coming here, and JD said, you're going to be so worried that you're going to miss what is happening. And he was so right. So as part of JD knowledge, like, have fun with what is going on. You're going to be frustrated, but that's part of the journey. Another thing was to take bigger risks. I think that I slowed myself down. I did. I didn't believe in myself enough to go out and say, you are going to succeed. And I wish somebody would have said, take bigger risks, because the rewards will be bigger.
Well, you must have been saying that to yourself because you manifested it.
In a way, I think that it was, I think I said it later in the game, and I just think back to, God, had I not just said that before, what could have been? I believe in perfect timing and divine timing. But at the same time, if there's somebody out there who's just not allowing themselves to believe, then just like let it go. Take a step back and give yourself room to fail. Because you can't live your life, you don't want to be 68 years old looking back at that one time that you really wished you took a risk to become a photographer. You should be 68 years old looking back and saying, I took a risk to be a photographer and it really didn't work out, but man, I had some really nice photo gear. That's what it could be. I mean, at the end of the day, that's really what it comes out to be. So
Yeah. Awesome.
that's the advice.
Okay.
Are we good?
Great.
Good. Okay. I feel like we need, I always work with music, so I feel like we need, oh shoot. Oh, did Craig do this? Oh shoot, I'm in the wrong one. Craig? I'm sorry. Where's my presentation?
Here it comes.
You need your keynote.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Someone make note of the time so we can crop this out.
Or actually, does somebody want to ask me a question?
Well, but you don't want me sitting next to you.
Why? You always want to be like the wizard behind the scenes.
Yeah, actually.
Do anything to crop me out. Okay, well, we went through all this good stuff. Or, that's conceited. No, we just went through this stuff. Okay.
It was good stuff. It was good stuff.
If I can, we want to take a breath here because this will be a nice opening segment for the second shooter part.
Okay.
So everyone just kind of take a breath, and we're now coming into a new segment.
Okay, Craig said I needed to breathe more. No, for real, he did. He's like, you need to breathe. I was like, okay. So that is my deep breath. So we're going to talk about second shooters because for a lot of people who are watching online, they are kind of in transition to becoming either a full-time photographer or they want to be a second shooter, they want more experience. And so I think it would be a good idea to, one, talk about second shooting in the first-person narrative as somebody who's done it, and as like a byproduct, you will need a second shooter at some other point in time. So back when I had a conversation with JD, hold on. Oh, I'm doing the wrong one. Dang it. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Last year sometime, like last October, JD and I went to San Diego to shoot a wedding, and he said, people sometimes ask me for advice about second shooting. And I started laughing. I was like, really? Like, really? People are asking you advice? And he's like, yeah, people are asking me for advice. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you tell them? And he's just like, I'm like, if you had to make like a top 10 list. And he started naming a few things, and I'm like, oh my God, you're so gonna guest blog next week. So I feel like his advice for second shooting is far better than what I could have given, because I feel like on a wedding day, I'm a little bit high maintenance. So if he can deal with me second shooting, I think that his advice to other second shooters working with somebody who's not so high maintenance will fit in quite nicely. Tip number 10, because we'll work like Letterman. Oh my gosh. Okay, so when we were little, we weren't allowed to watch Leno or Letterman. But when we went to bed at night, my dad would watch Letterman, and I would listen, and I would hear like Dave going through his top 10 list, and I always thought to myself, if I ever get up to a point in life where I can do a top 10 list like Letterman, I'm so gonna do it. Here's my chance. Like, top 10 list for second shooters. Top 10 would be dress appropriately. I feel like I made a big mistake my first year. Throughout 2007, I wore clothes that were kind of just comfortable and semi-cute. I was like, I'm going to be on my feet all day, like, whatever, I just need to breathe. But at the end of the day, I don't know if I was being a reflection of my brand, because my brand was trying to portray professionalism, being inspired by fashion. I wanted to look like a guest, but when I looked back at the pictures, we do this thing at the end of the year called a year in review, and we post pictures of us behind the scenes. And as I was collecting pictures, behind the scene pictures, I was looking at my outfits, and I'm like, Punky Brewster reinvented. I was like, oh my God, it was awful. So then the second year, I actually took a chunk of money to invest in like work style uniforms. And I bought clothing that I feel I would be able to be a little bit intermixed with guests. So I wear dresses when I shoot. Some people don't understand it, but I do. That's just how I roll. I know it's kind of cliche, but I prefer black. I wear all black. I request that JD wear a suit. Some guys are like, how could you do that? JD shoots on a beach in a suit. it is what it is. The division of the brand is professional, fashion-driven. He'll sometimes wear like a vest and like a skinny black tie. It's kind of like we want to look like friends of the bride and groom with really nice cameras. Dress appropriately. I've seen people, or I'll step away. Okay. Top 9. Top 9. If the photographer is doing a same-day slideshow, make sure that you are not sitting next to that photographer, that you're out in the ballroom roaming, following the bride and groom if they're walking from table to table. Nobody likes that job. The table shot job is like the worst job ever. Nobody likes to do those photos, but it's so nice to have somebody like on Saturday's wedding. We had been working so long and the dinner break was so late and we were tired and we were hungry and I was a wee bit cranky, and so I started working on the slideshow, and because I had started so late, I wasn't sure if I was gonna get it on time. JD takes a quick bite and he said, you know what, I'm just gonna go upstairs and I'm gonna hang out with the bride and groom. I felt like a huge burden was lifted, because as long as the bride and groom see somebody following them and taking pictures, they feel like they're being well taken care of. Again, a division of the brand. 8, gather the family. During family formals, I'm the director of what is going on. I cannot be a corraller, like getting Uncle Jack, who's at the bar trying to get his gin and tonic, and get grandma escorted from the second row, slowly inching her way up to the top, and mom who's trying to be a wonderful hostess. Basically, I do a big yell, like, everybody who's here for Laura's family, I need everybody in. And they're just like, where's Uncle Jack? I'm not gonna go get Uncle Jack. That's not my responsibility. As a second shooter, go find Uncle Jack, find somebody who knows Uncle Jack, and give them that job to get Uncle Jack. That's what the second shooter needs to do. The second shooter needs to help propel the first photographer, not just to stand around. These pictures aren't going to be used. And also during that time, if Uncle Jack is there, then you get the candids. So the main photographer is getting the head on, the straight on boring photo. Not boring, God forgive me. I love my family photos. Classic, thank you. I love my family photos. They're very special to me. But they're very classic. The first photographer gets a classic photo, and what JD does is he stands off to the side and he's getting the things that are happening in between. That moment when Laura and Billy look at each other and kind of like sigh, like, we made it, or the little flower girl picking her nose, or the girls fighting over the flower basket, those types of things. That's what the second shooter should be focusing on during that time of the day. Let's see. 6, or I'm sorry, we're on 7. Number 7, taking care of vendors. On the wedding day, JD understands that I'm very busy and I'm thinking about a lot of things, but he also wants to make sure that the relationships that we establish with other vendors actually go much farther than the relationships that we're establishing with our clients. As a division of our brand, he wants to make sure that he's out there saying hello to the DJ, saying hello to the band, talking to the assistants of the wedding coordinator. Because I and the wedding coordinator have this constant communication, like, what do you need? Yes, go, thank you very much. And then the other girls who are floating around her want to be included to a certain extent. JD's so good at saying, how are you? What are you doing? What do you study? Things like that. Whenever he gets me water, he will go and make sure that the DJ has water, the band has water, talking to the catering manager. Anytime you can trust a second shooter to go out of their way and talk on behalf of the first shooter, it's very much appreciated. 6, offer to carry bags. I know who likes that job. Nobody does. But as a second shooter, you have your own gear and you want to take care of it. But it's so nice to say, hey, let me grab this bag. You run ahead. That sacrificial, like, I won't get the shot. You run ahead. I'll do this for you. That right there solidifies your position as a good person, not as a good second shooter. And that goes a lot farther. Number 5. Get water. And maybe I'm just a camel, but I mean, I've gone through, how much water have I gone through today? I drink a ton of water. But on a wedding day, like, I am stressed and I'm hot. I mean, like, this room is like probably 33 degrees. I'm sure if somebody sneezed, it would freeze. But I'm hot right now because I'm just like, let's go, let's go, let's go. And so on a wedding day, I drink a ton of water. And so JD always has a glass of water at certain distinct times of day so that after the family formals, he knows, here's a glass of water, drink up. If you are in that opportunity, if you're thirsty, the photographer's probably thirsty. Go out of your way. Do something nice for them too. Number 4, smile. That's a huge thing. When JD and I first started shooting, he was definitely learning, and so there's, of course, frustrating and, dare I say it, boring times of the day. And that moment of when everybody is seated for the ceremony and people are lining up outside the door of the church, and we're just the photographers are just standing, like, I used to work at Nordstrom. They teach you have to smile all the time. You're a division of Nordstrom. As you stand on that floor, you are not selling clothes, you're selling an experience. When people know, when I put out the engagement slideshow, people follow the slideshow, then they visit my blog or they visit my website, and so they feel like they know me. If I'm up there like, Checking my phone. Ooh, don't check your phone. I feel like that is so rude. Rude. Do you guys watch that Bon Qui Qui on YouTube? Rude. You guys, okay. Nobody. Somebody on the internet, can somebody tell me they watch Bon Qui Qui? Anyway, so I'll probably do that on the wedding day. Rude. Okay, so smile. You are a division of your brand, and smiling says so much. Smile when you don't feel like smiling. When you're hot, or if I'm angry, like learn how to talk with a smile. Like, okay, go get grandma right now, okay? Thanks. So smile a lot. Goes a long way. Number 3, find new angles. When I first started second shooting, I assumed that what the photographer wanted was safety and assurance from behind his right shoulder. Like, just in case he doesn't get that shot, I'll get it too. The first photographer doesn't need that. The first photographer needs you to think like a first photographer shooting from a different angle. Your job is to find an entirely different picture. So the way that it'll work at the wedding is there are certain times of the day where JD and I split. I will be with Laura as she gets ready. JD will be with Billy as he gets ready. We will rotate in you guys as second shooters in during that time. When JD comes, you will then become the third shooter. Most likely you will become the third shooter for most of the day. In those instances, I don't want you to think like a third shooter. I want you to think like a first shooter getting a third angle. It's going to be hard. It's going to be very hard because there's a crew going on, there's going to be angles, but that's what defines a really good photographer, seeing a picture that nobody else sees or seeing an entirely different scene. If there's something else, like if I'm getting Laura into her dress and her mom happens to be getting her hair done at a chair from another side, I can't simultaneously shoot Laura's mom and Laura. If you have an angle and you turn it on to Laura's mom and she's getting her hair done and she turns and she cries, you get the wedding picture. Good job. That right there is what a solid second photographer does. Third photographer, fourth photographer. Third, or second, never pass out your business card. Ever. Yeah. We know that, like, we just say, of course, of course. No. There are people on the internet who think that's okay. Yes, you own your own business, but you do not own your own business when you're second shooting for that photographer. You are there as a representation of that person. I had another photographer pass out a business card on their day, and I'm just like, hold up, wait a minute, you just done tripped her up right now. Don't do that. That is so rude. When I second shoot with another photographer, I am there on behalf of photographer X. I will get you I actually, when I start the day, I ask the other photographer, can I have 2 or 3 of your business cards? Because if somebody asks me for a business card, here you go. It is none of my business to get up in her business. She got that wedding on her own accord, and I don't need to be going up there and be like, oh, but I got along so much better with the bridesmaids. I was able to hang out with them and they just liked me. Too bad. Your other photographer was stressing out working with all the other drama that you didn't have to see with behind the scenes. Don't do that. That's wrong and faux pas. Number 1, leave your ego at the door. That is the number 1 thing. I have heard so many times where people will be like, can you believe this happened? Yes, I can believe it happened. Yeah, I believed it happened because you went in and you treated it like it was your own wedding. And on a wedding day, a second photographer is just that. Another person in the room as a division of that photographer. Don't get it twisted. You walk in, yes sir, what can I get you? You want me to jump? How high? You want me to take your bags to Siberia and back? I will do it in 5 minutes. That's what the first photographer needs, and that's actually how I believe my name kind of traveled a little bit in the second shooting community, because they knew that I would do whatever. I would like out hustle, I will outrun, I will outshoot. And I think that that's how I was able to, to second shoot like 12 to 15 weddings in like 2-3 months is a lot. It's a lot. I was busy every weekend. So if you want to get busy and stay busy, leave your ego at the door. I think a lot of times what happens is you need clarification before the ceremony. Anytime you engage in any type of business transaction with another photographer, you need to like be real. You need to let them know what you need and what they want. So I think that a lot of disagreements begin with ambiguity in the relationship. So what is it that you think you're going to get out of the day? Or let that other photographer let you know. Some photographers don't pay. You need to know that in advance. And if they don't pay, what are you getting in lieu of that? If they don't pay, can you use the images online? If they do pay, can you use the images online? Are you able to use them in your online portfolio or just in your studio? Can you reproduce those images? Whatever the terms are, it needs to be completely out in the open. Because what happens is that I see all the time on forums, people are like, I can't believe I second shot for this photographer, and can you believe she put them up in her gallery and didn't give me photo credit? And I'm like, yes, I can believe that. That's what photographers do. Maybe there are other things that went on in that dynamic, but if you're getting paid for your time, you're getting paid for your time. And then you turn your images over to the first photographer. The first photographer then can use them as he or she sees appropriate. However, it's within the first photographer's jurisdiction to what am I? I'm trying to be a lawyer. It's in the first photographer's best interest to let you know. And as a second photographer, if the first photographer has not said it, you need to ask. When I first started shooting, I didn't get paid. And some people might not get it, and they might disagree with it, that it is what it is. I can only talk about my experience. I started second/third shooting for free. I just wanted to get experience. I just wanted to know about the day. And then this one opportunity, a photographer by the name of Greg Bumate in Orange County gave me an opportunity to third shoot with him, and I didn't get paid. And then he invited me to second shoot with him, and I didn't get paid, but a week later he gave me a gift certificate to Chili's. And I was like, whoa! I was like, big time! I was like, baby, order appetizers. Remember, because we were still doing Taco Bell. So Chili's was like, fine dining up in here. So he gave me a gift certificate to Chili's, and then he asked me to come with him a second wedding, or third wedding by this time. He gave me Chili's again. And on the way to our third wedding working together, he was so kind and brutally honest. And he said, some of your last photos were a little overexposed. And remember, I was shooting JPEG. He was shooting JPEG too, but that exposure had to be it had to be spot on. So he's like, they were a little overexposed, and do you know what you did here? And I'm like, I don't really know. I don't really know the mistake that I did. And he's like, I think you overcompensated. He took the time to explain to me. Was it uncomfortable? Yeah. I'll never forget sitting, he had this blue BMW and he had blue tinted windows. I'm sorry, Greg, if you're watching, I'm so sorry. He had these blue tinted windows, and I'll never forget sitting with the camera in my lap with this like awkward blue glow on my hands and on my camera, and he's explaining what I did wrong. I'll never ever forget that kindness. He knew it was uncomfortable. I knew it was uncomfortable, but he was teaching me. And after that wedding, I think I did a better job because he paid me. And I was like, nice! And after that, I was able to second shoot with him quite a bit that year. And he was very gracious. He passed my name on to other photographers. I had the opportunity to shoot with a few other photographers. And then by the time I shot my own wedding on my own, I felt confident. I knew what was going to come my way. I think that second shooting is the most invaluable thing. That goes back to clarification. One thing too was that my personal experience as a second shooter is mixed. Of course, there will always be good experiences, and there will always be not so good experiences. I'll never forget the first time I second shot at a wedding. Like, you know that scene in Jerry Maguire where Jerry Maguire is looking for a song on the radio because he just signed The Rookie, and he's pushing all the radio stations, and like not a good, powerful song is coming on. Well, everyone's like, no. Anyway, there's the scene in Jerry Maguire. Anyway, I'm on my way to second shoot, and I wanted like a song. Like I wanted, like, this is my anthem song, and I'm clicking through the radio, and nothing is coming on, like nothing. And so finally, as I'm pulling, I shot in like Newport. I'm pulling up the 55 freeway, and Pat Benatar comes on, and I'm like, friggin' Pat Benatar will do. And so I'm singing like, along with Pat Benatar. But I'll always remember Pat Benatar as being like my very first time I second shot a wedding. And for it being the first time I second shot, yes, I was nervous, but I think it went really well. And I think that comes back from a lot of hard work, just shooting outside of weddings. So if you're in that like kind of structure of not knowing what to do, shoot outside of what you're familiar with, because it'll help you confidently approach a myriad of lighting situations. One thing too, I think I'd mentioned this earlier, being involved with online forums. That is how I got most of my second shooting opportunities. I was involved with the community, and so they knew me more as a person than they did as a second photographer. So when my name came up with other people's names, because people would say, hey, I need a second shooter in Santa Barbara. Hey, I need a third shooter in San Diego. I would put my name out there, but because I was so involved with the community and helping people, and I didn't know what the heck I was talking about, but the thing was, I'd only been shooting 6 months, but there was a person who was just coming into the industry. So, if somebody had been shooting 1 month and I had been shooting 6 months, I was 5 months up on that person. I didn't know what I was talking about, but I had 5 months more than the other person, so I helped wherever I could. And I think that helped permeate like the divisions of, that kind of like social strata within forums, and people are just like, hey, come along, tag along. That helped out a lot too. I did have an experience one time with a photographer that left me totally burned. I quit photography, and I actually blogged about this on my current blog, but it was a retrospective. It happened years ago. And on my blog, I entitled it, The Day I Quit Photography. And the day that I quit photography was when I second shot a wedding, and I was ill-prepared. I didn't mention to the other photographer that I didn't shoot manually. I was shooting in aperture priority, and it was a really important thing for this photographer for me to shoot manually. And I started the day off. I thought I was seriously like humming "Eye of the Tiger," like dun 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 dun. I was like so good. I was like, I don't have to lose my camera, and I felt really good. But when I got there, it didn't work. It was just a hot mess. Like it was a dark, dark, dark. She was getting ready at this venue. It was so dark. I wasn't prepared. I didn't have fixed lenses. It was all over the place. I felt really off. And then by the time the ceremony came, it was bright sun, and the photographer had asked me to shoot the groom's reaction of the bride walking down the aisle. And the sun, I'm not lying, was like right here, like on his head. And so he was bright, 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 and this is like pitch black on this side. And I didn't know how to compensate because, of course, when you shoot aperture priority, it's gonna not focus. It's not gonna meter for his skin. So the photographer's just like, just shoot it, just shoot it, just shoot it. And I'm like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What are the readings? And high stress situation, not the best for anybody involved. And I was thinking in my mind, don't worry, you'll fix it when you get home. You'll fix it when you get home. You'll fix it when you get home. And on the night, I had to download all the cards and give them to the first photographer. And I sobbed all the way home because I knew that I had not missed the mark. I had not messed up. I like royally screwed somebody over. And I felt like such a small person. I felt like I totally botched this huge opportunity to work with somebody that I respected, and I felt like I was a complete phony, a complete hack. Like, what is it, Hack. Hack sounds cool too. I was a complete hack. I felt like a complete hack. I felt like I had put together a front, and I totally led this person the wrong direction. So I cried, and I cried, and I cried, and I cried. And I came upstairs. We used to live in a duplex, and we lived upstairs. And JD thought that my mom had died because I was like, and he said something that really did change the experience. And this is a snippet from. It was a really long blog post, but this is a snippet. The day I quit photography. By the time I got home, I was sobbing. I stumbled through the front door of our home and collapsed on the couch and sobbed some more. I tried explaining to JD the horrors of the day, but I lost him somewhere in between my dry heaves and insisting my camera didn't speak English. I sobbed for a few more hours and fell asleep. The next morning, I told JD I quit photography. Honest, hand to heaven. I quit and swore never to return because really, I messed up that badly. Then JD reminded me that it was supposed to happen. I was supposed to fail and learn and cry because that's what the process of building a business is all about. Had Bell, Jefferson, or Fulton quit after their first failure, the phone, electricity, and cupcakes wouldn't be around. And as he well knew, I couldn't survive without any of those things. I quit photography. I wanted to, I don't know what stopped me from getting my camera and throwing it against the wall. I was so disillusioned with my performance and my inability to really know what the heck I was doing. I wanted to pretend I was a professional, yet I wasn't shooting professionally. And that was the first time it revealed itself. Somebody held a mirror and said, "You're a fake, you're a phony. If you want this, you better get it right." And it hurt. God, it hurt. I was humiliated. I didn't want to pick up my camera for a really long time. But what options did I have? At this time, I was second shooting, and I was still working part-time. My options were go back to law school or stay permanently in this part-time job. Both of those options totally blew. And so I was just like, okay, I want to do this. And I think that everybody has had that experience, and to not let those experiences define you, but rather shape you to help you become the person and photographer you want to be. Having said that, I think we will take a deep breath. Craig. Hey, hey! And we will field a few more questions from the interwebs.
First, I wanted to say that Christina Deli,
Yes, that's my bride.
Who was the bride on that photo.
Hi, Christina.
She's watching, and so she was very excited to see her photo out there. She tweeted.
See, I have the best brides. I have the best brides. And actually, on the break, I got an email. Marie, if you're watching, I totally see you. She emailed me and said, "Oh, hey, I logged on yesterday. I saw you, and I'm logging on, and I saw you a little bit today," which is awesome. Which just means I'm trying to be as transparent as possible. I'm going to tell my clients everything I do from behind the scenes, and I'm so proud that they like to know the inner workings. It's great. I love it.
I also just
I have direction from Craig saying go back one slide, and I have a feeling it has to do with editing purposes. Okay.
I just want to say too that people really appreciate you talking about how you messed up, and because everybody does fail, it's how you learn.
Yeah.
So people really appreciate it.
And it's hard. I have to say that I feel really proud of myself because I feel like there's this lump in my throat because you don't want to tell people that you screwed up, and you don't want to admit that you don't have it together. But I'm happy. I'm
But
happy.
you're not human. You wouldn't be human,
Yeah.
you know.
But don't you want to wear a cape though sometimes? Like, don't you want to be like, I got it, done,
Not really.
done, done. I do. I totally want the eye of the tiger syndrome. Okay, cool. Any other questions?
Yep. So, Young SB in Twitter, would you recommend trying to be a second shooter before trying to be a first shooter?
Yes.
When you're getting
Yes.
started?
Yes. Yes. Oh my God. To shoot a wedding, having never experienced shooting a wedding, and of course, I'm only speaking from my perspective. And I started second shooting, but there's so many things happening on a wedding day. And I firmly believe, and of course, if there are commercial photographers and architectural photographers happening to watch this, they're going to disagree. But I'm going to say that wedding photography is not harder than other types of photography. I just think it's more complex because you are a lifestyle photographer, you're a photojournalist, you're a commercial photographer, you are an architectural photographer. You are a lot of different things. And the better you become at those small elements, the stronger you become as a package. Because I don't just get the bride's shoes and put them out and take a picture of the shoes. I style the shoes. I don't know if we, the blog post that I will be posting on Friday, I had to shoot those shoes in 4 or 5 different locations because it wasn't speaking to me. I didn't, one, feel like that photo was branded because I know I collect, attract, whatever, brides who like fashion, and they will spend a nice amount of money on their shoes. They want a picture of those shoes. I want to take a pretty picture of those shoes so I can then blog it, so that what I can do is, one, attract other clients who like shoes, who want me to take nice pictures of the shoes, and it becomes a self-revealing prophecy, right? But in order for me to do that, I have to start taking pictures that I'm really proud of to put on the internet. And I had taken photos, and they're fine photos. They're okay photos, but I didn't feel like I had that photo. I had to take pictures of the shoes 3 or 4 different times, and I'm guessing that as a commercial photographer, she happened to wear Jimmy Choo's on Saturday. If I was shooting a pair of Jimmy Choo shoes as a commercial photographer, I would probably have to shoot it 3 or 4, 5, 15, 18, 100 different ways to get the shot. That's what we have to do as photographers. And I don't even know what the question was. What was the question? I don't even know.
Recommending if you
Huh?
recommending if you would if you should be a second shooter.
Oh, thank you. That's why.
Second before first.
That's why.
Yes, and so when you can see what other people are doing, and it's not just I'm shooting shoes, because when I was shooting shoes, the brides, the little flower girls came in as the bride was getting ready. So you want the expressions of her seeing the flower girls for the first time, and the flower girls seeing her as she's getting ready. So there's a ton of different things that you're doing in that room all at once. So to see that done in a different way, and to one, notice what you like, and to two, notice what you don't like. That's like a really big thing by second shooting. Yes.
Question in the audience.
I was once told that you should always be shooting the opposite lens of what your first shooter has on their camera. What do you think about that?
I don't think it's a hard and fast rule, but when I'm shooting with the 50, JD's shooting the 85.
Okay.
We don't need too much. I want different. I want a lot of differentness.
Okay.
I understand. God, I'm just inventing them. Like the thesaurus of Jasmine up in here. Okay, the dictionary of Jasmine, whatever, differentness, yes. But yeah, I do. I do think that, especially because it's not necessarily that you're standing so far in relation to your subject. You might be at a different angle, but if you're both shooting with the 50, you're going to both get the same feeling. So JD always is looking what I'm looking, and I set the tone. If I'm shooting the 50, he shoots at the 85. If I'm shooting the 85, he shoots with the 28, not the 24. He might shoot the 28 or the 50 or even telephoto. God, that telephoto. I mean, the 7200, I can't use it because I feel like I have like weak wrists. Like I only put that on during the ceremony. But when he uses that lens, when we're doing either first look or just bridal, like just the bride and groom together, man alive, it feels so raw. It feels revealing. It feels photojournalistic. It feels very fashion on the go. It feels very Donna Karan. It feels very Michael Kors-ish, New York City, because you get these just tight movements and you get a lot of like fall off. I mean, there's just a different vibe. So if you could do that for your photographer, yeah, totally.
Okay. So quite a few people have been asking what it's like to work with your husband, and a lot of people seem to be, married teams in the chat room. So I'm really interested to see what's that like for you.
Well, he's here,
Yeah.
so I
What do you
can't
think,
be
JD?
honest. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm kidding. No, I love it. I totally love it. I totally love it. I think it works better in our situation. I have not better, I'm sorry. It's good. I like our arrangement. He doesn't ever want to be the first photographer. He doesn't ever want to go out on his own. He never wants to shoot a wedding by himself. He never wants to be an associate or book things on his own. He doesn't ever want to direct people. He likes the role that he plays. He likes to be behind the scenes. Like today, he's just chilling out over there, which I like because I could peek through the little curtain and I'm like, hey. But that's how he is on the wedding day. He doesn't like to do that. I think it would be really hard if you had a husband and wife team who both had ideas about how to approach the day. Then I feel like you have a two-headed monster. Like it's a really good body, but like you are, let one person take control. And I understand that I think that it's good if you're a husband and wife team to break down who's in control in what part of the day. Because there's nothing worse. I kind of don't think it's too professional to say, I think they should do this. Well, what do you think about this? What about this lighting? What about this? And can you look here? Look here? No, look over there. Look here, look at this. I have my clients look at JD, but I'm in control of that. Can you look to JD? Because I want profile shots. I want a different angle. I want to fall into the second shooter mode. Whatever the case may be, I'm calling the shots on that. I don't want him ever to be like, can you look here? Can you look here? Can you look here? And then I'm like, me. I just don't like that balling. I want them to know who's in charge and who's making the shots, or who's calling the shots. But there are some times where JD sees something that he wants to, and he turns to me and says, Jess, what do you think about this? We know that that's the communication. So I was like, okay, you guys, he's going to do this, blah, 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 so that my clients know the pulse and the ebb and the flow. But I love it. I mean, he's here with me now. That's a total blessing. We have nonverbal communication, which I'm sure, embarrassingly, will end up on film. Like, I have 10,000 different looks, each of them having, like, a paragraph or two about, like, go get grandma and please escort her out the photo. It's just like, close your jacket, like, smile. Like, I mean, we know, like, that kind of stuff works so well when you're a husband and wife team. So, yeah.
So, Marion Silva on Twitter saying, we know you have JD, but how would you choose a second shooter that is a good fit if you didn't have JD or when you didn't
The same way that people found me. Get involved in a community. It's so hard to find somebody who you trust. I think that's the first shooter's biggest worry, is they can't find somebody they trust enough to share the day with. Because you worry, are these people going to try? I've heard of second photographers but looking up the clients on Facebook and tagging the clients in photos from the wedding on Facebook. No. You don't do that. You don't do any contact with the bride and groom. You don't tag them in photos. You leave that to the first photographer. If the photographer says, yeah, go ahead, feel free to do that, that's fine. But I second shot a wedding just recently. I absolutely loved the experience, and the first photographer linked to my blog and said, thank you so much to Jasmine for shooting. That bride came to my blog and left a comment, and she said, thank you so much, blah, blah, blah. So I responded to her, but I BCC'd the first photographer. Why? I don't ever want that first photographer to think that I went out of my way to email that client and try to be snarky. I BCC'd her to let her know, I think that Meg is so amazing. She did such a good job. She's fabulous, and I'm so honored to have shared the day with her. She didn't have to be on that email, but God forbid her bride ever say, like, oh, yeah, I was speaking to Jasmine. If somebody said that to me, I would instantly feel like, why? What happened? Did I not do anything? Like, what was going on? So always on the up and up. But yes, so get involved with communities. Figure out who's active on those communities, who you like. Like, you know, after seeing people's posts, what kind of person they are. If they're always talking about how they're in their cubicle and their kids have spilled the cereal and they're so mad and the dog is barking and the babysitter showed up late for your shoot, and then you got there and your camera didn't work, so you had to run back to the car and get a second. It's like, you just know that person's just drama. You probably just don't want them as your second shooter. Like, so that's right. You could say amen. That's right. Word. Yeah, so getting involved in communities, figuring out if you kind of resonate with that person to begin with, and then you put your feelers out. And go to their blogs.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I have another question that I've been trying to avoid asking,
Oh,
but it
God.
keeps coming up.
Oh, no!
People are saying that all the couples on your website are really beautiful and glamorous shots. But how do you suggest taking wedding photos of unattractive people?
Okay. So I know for a fact that Marie is watching. And Marie is this girl right here. This is Marie. I know Marie is watching. I know Christina Deli is watching. So I'm going to come out and say it honestly. My brides are beautiful. But I feel like they're just normally beautiful. I think that Laura is beautiful, but she's going to be freaking gorgeous on her wedding day. And I think that we as photographers can bring that out of people. I shoot very normal looking people, but I coach them to look extraordinary. Both Charlie and Marie are medical students. And what Charlie wrote on my Facebook wall was, thank you so much for not making us look like the library nerds we are. I shoot library nerds, and they look that good. My clients are not over the top gorgeous. They get dressed up and they get dolled up, and that helps. And then I come in and add a little spin or a twist to it. Another thing, too, is I do believe that, like I mentioned before, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If I shoot girls with really pretty shoes, it then manifests itself more so in really pretty shoes. In like manner, people are attracted to the things that they see on the web. What happens when people have an interaction with me on the web, it becomes one of two things. I am either repelling or attracting, and they look at the photos, and they are either repelled or attracted to the photos. They do not look to Marie as an idea of beauty. They look to her and think, I could be her friend. She looks approachable. She looks pretty. I want to look like her. Those are very different connotations of what people associate when they look at my photos. I don't think that they look, and then some people look at that and say, I could never do that. I would never dress like that. I would never sit on that dirty bench in Los Angeles against a graffiti wall. Awesome. You're not my client. Was that totally California?
Totally.
Awesome. Awesome. So do I typecast my clients? Absolutely not. I feel like I don't choose my clients. My clients choose me. That's a very big difference. But they're choosing me based on the things that they've already seen. So if you feel like you're not getting the most out of your photo shoots, if you feel like you're not getting the most out of your clients, like sometimes people wrote, I would never have a client who would wear a sparkly gold dress on her engagement session. Have you given her the permission to wear the sparkly gold dress on her engagement session? That is the question. If you feel like you're not getting what you want, what are you doing to go out and get it? I email all my, why do I feel like I'm preaching? Wow, I'm just like, okay. I email my clients in advance, and I let them know a list of things I think that they should be doing for their engagement session, because I want to prepare them for success. If you are not preparing your clients for success, you may or may not succeed in your own terms. But I do think that Marie was like, in fact, I know, sorry, Marie, I'm just going to bring you out. I love this girl. I totally adore her. I would, if she lives in Philadelphia, she's going to med school, I would be this girl's friend if she lived in Los Angeles. I'm trying to make it my life's mission to have her move out to California. She was embarrassed wearing this dress. She texted me and said, look for the gold disco ball walking on the street. It's my job to then, and I texted her back, I think something along the lines of, great, my specialty is shooting gold disco balls. Our jobs as photographers is to make them feel, one, okay, two, beautiful, and then once you're lobbed, like if you had a client who came in a dress like this, like she's lobbing you a softball. She's saying, please make me feel beautiful. You have to then perform. So no, I don't typecast my clients. I prepare my clients for success. I encourage them to get their hair and makeup done. Ooh, like is that faux pas? It probably is, but whatever. We as photographers know that girls look better with their hair and makeup done. It is what it is. If you hate me for saying it, I'm so sorry. Whatever, makeup was invented for a reason. We're a little bit more on your engagement session. She didn't actually get her hair and makeup done. She did it herself, but she then took the little bit of time to add a little bit more and do something a little bit different. Had I not said that, I don't know if she would have. It's our job to educate them what looks better. I tell my clients, not go and get your hair and makeup done because you look better. I tell them being dolled up makes you feel a little bit more ready to work it for the camera. Those are my exact words. Keep it real. Be honest with your clients. And yeah, I could shoot a couple like this in an outfit like this every day. So that's what I'm going to showcase.
What else is on the list besides hair and makeup?
Hair and makeup, I told them, I explained that I'm a natural light photographer. So if they show up late, I do not extend the session. If they show up a half an hour late, I don't extend the session a half hour. We end it when it's supposed to because I'm a natural light photographer and the sun dictates how long I can shoot. If there is no sun, I cannot shoot. So please make appropriate considerations for traffic, fashion emergencies, and false eyelashes falling off. Those are the words that I really use. I had a client show up for a session late because her eyelashes kept on falling off. So they had to pull up to the store, buy glue, she had to go into the store, re-put them on, and that's not a problem, but you have to allocate time for that. But whose fault was it? It was my fault for not telling her in advance appropriate time for that. That was just it. So tell them all my clients choose locations. I simply show up and shoot. It's my job to take their ideas and make it better. Because then they become involved in the shoot, and then they have a sense of ownership in what they're doing. And so I feel like not only, I mean, Marie, poor thing, she's never been out. I mean, she has been to California, but not in the sense of like, I'm looking for engagement sessions. She was actually on Google Maps. She's like, what about this area? What about this area? And she actually said this area called Boyle Heights. Now, if you are, do you know where Boyle Heights is? It's like ghetto. I mean, that is like little Mexico, right? I'm like, I'm like, the trucks up there, they have like, literally, they have cow horns in the front and Mexican flags. I'm like, I might feel comfortable there, but it might be a little awkward for you. And I'm like, how about a few other locations? And we were able to find a location that she felt good in. She also found a diner on Melrose, but then after thinking it through and whether or not like logistically it would work, and then she ended up requesting to shoot in a particular area of Los Angeles, and I think that she rocked it out, and it's my job to take their ideas and make them better. So that's the things that are in there. But it's important. Like the email that I sent to those clients was only a manifestation of my frustrations, because I felt like, why are people late? Am I telling them not to be? Am I explaining why? That's the key. Like, you can't just say be late, because then you sound diva. Explain to them. And the minute, I haven't had a client late since I put that into the denim. And mostly all my clients either get their hair and makeup done, or they'll put a little bit extra on, like Marie, she put a little bit extra on to do her hair. Things like that make a big difference. Cool. Okay.
Very cool.
It's 4:30, so I'm not sure if you want to.
Oh my God.
Oh my
Is it
gosh.
really?
Is it really?
Oh my goodness. Oh my God, Craig, I'm on Jasmine time. Yeah. Craig told me, like,
Wow.
you can say, I can't. Oh, shoot.
So we'll hold the rest of our questions for later.
Shoot.
For later when?
Well, we are now breaking the segment. The next segment is planning, right?
Shoot.
Just hand
Yeah.
it around since we're all
Oh,
logged
dang
in.
it. Okay, I can fly.
Please.
I'll
It's all
fly.
okay. By the way, we are not dictated by the sunlight. We can go late.
I know.
You know, the
But I have dinner reservations with Laura and Billy.
no, that's important. So there are two ways we can do this. We can go quickly through this, and basically what you're going to talk about right now is the preparation for the shooting day, correct?
It's the
order-
wedding walkthrough.
The wedding walkthrough?
Yeah.
There's no reason you couldn't go through it quickly, and then we could go into Q&A, because basically this segues exactly to what we're doing tomorrow, which is going to the venue and starting to walk through it.
Right.
There's no reason we couldn't cover this again in some different detail tomorrow.
We will have to. I really want to go through this, though, because I feel like what I want to do ideally in this situation is explain as much as possible of what I do, so by the time I get around to the wedding day, I can just be like, remember when I spoke about this? Like, that's kind of what I really want to do, because I don't think, honestly, like with the timeline that we have, I don't think I'll be able to narrate as much.
So in 45 minutes, do you think we could cover it and then hold questions for tomorrow?
Hold the questions. Yeah.
Okay, so we will. You can ask questions, and then you two will be basically making notes of those questions.
Yeah, so people like internet, like ask questions, because tomorrow we will definitely, we've padded it that tomorrow. Today was definitely talking intensive, but I feel like I'm a firm believer in like preparing and then executing.
Okay.
And it's good because all the questions are applicable to any portion
Okay, great.
of this
Okay,
workshop.
so let's fire through.
All right. So get the mic back over there. Everyone, take another breath, and we break into the next bit.
Breathe in.
Is anybody hot now?
Oh, it's been hot
No?
the whole time.
No, you haven't been the only one that's been.
Wow, this camel is like burning up. Okay, here we go. Wedding walkthrough. Okay, so we are going to start. How I approach a wedding day is I have a mental list on my mind. I do not have preconceived notions of what I'm shooting. I just know what I need to shoot in order for me to feel like I had completed the day. And so if you guys feel like I'm off track or I missed something on Laura's wedding day, which can happen, totally, I make mistakes, feel free to remind me. Like, Jasmine, did you get that? Like, thank God you guys are here. I've never shot a wedding with like 3 or 4 cameramen there as well. So I will probably be flubbing. So if you guys want to help me out, that's totally great. So we start with the photographer arrival. I like to arrive 10 to 15 minutes early. So if I'm slated for a 2 p.m. start time, I will show up around 1:45 because I know that there's going to take time. Time will be taken away from me saying hi to the bride, meeting her mom if I haven't met the mom before, collecting the items that need to be photographed. So all that time cannot take time away from my shoot time. So preparing yourself, padding that for that particular thing. Bride preparation. During the bride preparation, as she's talking, so the way that it usually works when I arrive is the bride doesn't really have all of her makeup on or all of her hair on. Her hair.
In some cases.
Okay, in some cases, yes. She doesn't have her hair done or her makeup on. If your bride does not have makeup done, do not shoot her. Those pictures will not go anywhere. I'm speaking as a bride myself. Brides want to look, not completely done up. They just want to look a little bit cute. You don't want to have the dark circles, the shiny face. Those pictures aren't going anywhere. Don't waste your time. Walk into the room, get exactly what you need. I never ask the bride for the things that I need to photograph. She has so much going on. The last thing she needs is me. Although she might like me, like, do you have this? What about this? What about this? What about this? who I say, hi, how are you? I tell her she looks gorgeous, it's a good day, whatever comes to mind at that time. And then I say, can you please point me to your maid of honor? I will be requesting things of her unless you have them laid out. She's like, Jenny is over there. Talk to Jenny. Perfect. I go to Jenny. Jenny, this is what I need. I need the wedding dress. I need the wedding shoes. I need jewelry. I need the purse. I need a veil. I need a garter. That's what I start off with immediately. She collects all that stuff because I don't need to go one by one. Do you have the dress? Thank you. Do you have the shoes? Thank you. Like, hey, give me what I need and let me work. You know, because I shoot on a really short time frame. There are other photographers who shoot 10 hours, and that's a good amount of time. But if I can get it done, I can get it done. So I just need to execute it quickly enough. So as for the wedding dress, I would shoot a tight shot of the wedding dress, a vertical pulled away shot of the wedding dress, a horizontal shot of the wedding dress, and if there's bead detailing, that's what I get. Boom, done, catalog. Shoes. I shoot the shoes however long I need to shoot the shoes for me to feel like I have a shoe shot. We already had that discussion. We will move on from there. Jewelry. Stylize the jewelry. What happens is, yes, you can take a shot of her earrings and bracelet, and that's nice, but if you can work it way into other elements, like her garter, like her purse. I've noticed that a lot of magazine editors and wedding bloggers like when you can combine elements to help tell the story, because they won't publish 13 pictures of details. They might publish one detail photo that has 4 or 5 elements into it. And I will explain it on the wedding day. So anytime you can stylize the garter, the jewelry, and the purse, if it all goes well, rock that out. The veil, get a shot of the veil. I don't really like pictures of the veil just sitting there by themselves because they're static, but if you could stylize it in good light, it might look really interesting. Do that. Then if the bouquet and the bridesmaids' flowers are there, pull them off to the side and get shots of that. I'm doing that for vendors. I want to create vendor relationships because I will, of course, give those vendors free images, high res, whatever you want for your website. I want them, again, what am I trying to do? Create Dawn Kings for Jasmine Star. I want the florist to be like, Jasmine will knock it out. Jasmine will knock it out. That's exactly what I want. So anytime you can shoot those in advance, do it. At this point in time, after I've done this, the bride is probably a little bit more ready. She has enough makeup on to look cute, and maybe her hair's in curlers or pins, and that's always cute. I always think girls with makeup on but their hair pinned up is super cute. Shoot a few of those, getting the hair designer and the makeup artist in some of the photos. Why? Because I want to send those photos of them working behind the scenes, because that'll probably end up on their website with a little credit to me. Kablam, more marketing for what you do, right? You're always thinking in those contexts. And furthermore, it's just good karma. Take care of people behind the scenes, and they will take care of you in front of house. You know, I want her to make my bride look good. Take a little bit of time, put a little bit of extra lipstick on her. Anytime you can get gifts or notes, that personalizes what you're doing, and it also helps tell the story of the day. So what happens is I create a slideshow, which I will do after the wedding, and sometimes you need transitionary pictures, because you can't, I mean, to me, it just doesn't make sense to go from details to a certain thing. But for instance, if I'm going to transition from shooting details to the bride getting her makeup done, a transitionary picture might be a shot of all the makeup brushes, or the hand of a makeup artist grabbing a brush or grabbing lipstick, whatever. That's the storytelling piece, so shoot that. Notes or bride and groom gifts always act as a really nice transitionary piece to tell the story, to flip it to where it's going to go. I then get bridesmaids candids. The girls looking at the bride, the girls laughing, drinking with their mom in the background. I love shooting at a 1.2, focusing on one bridesmaid and having like the other girls like in a different plane of focus and out of focus. I love that. Shoot the bride when she has her makeup on. The bride gets dressed. And one thing that I have to assess is I have to assess her comfortability with me being in the room. Most brides are okay with me being in the room, but if I feel like so you have to know how to judge body movement. If I feel like she's kind of hovering and she's not like taking off her robe and she's just waiting to take off her robe, she clearly is not okay being photographed in her undergarments. If she's one of those girls that will just take off everything and she has a cute little like bride and groom undergarments, she wants to be photographed. So I will then feel comfortable asking her, do you mind if I shoot you? And she'll turn around, and sometimes they have like those little like bottoms with like bride, like embroidered or like bedazzled on the bum. She wants photos of that. So then I feel comfortable asking her. If she's hovering like this, I don't bother asking, I explain. I have my camera down. If you hear me shooting, I'm not shooting you. I'm shooting other people within the room. Nothing will get online. Say that. I don't care. Explain to her that you're in the safe zone, because so much is happening. So once I assess the comfortability of me shooting her, I will then shoot candids of the bridesmaids grabbing the dress, getting her into the dress. I'm focusing on where mom is. I need to get a picture of mom in the photo. Then I flip to the backside. I get the girls zipping up or buttoning her dress. That's a really big, important photo. I get candids of the bridesmaids and the mom. Then, of course, you get candids of putting on the garter and putting on the shoes. I kind of think that those are boring photos, but every so often you kind of get a winner that you can incorporate elsewhere. But again, it just goes back to telling the story of the day. And expressions. After the bride is fully done, like putting on her jewelry and her all the goods, there's always that like moment, that collective moment of, and everybody claps. Girls, I don't know why. Girls are like, yay! It's such the girl moment, but you know it's coming. Anticipate the yay moment and shoot the heck out of the yay moment, because that's like the real stuff. That's the stuff that tells the story of the day in a single picture and really resonates in slideshows. All right, here we go. Groom preparation. I don't shoot the groom. That's what my second shooter does. And thankfully, I call JD my little chameleon. He, like, you know what chameleons do? They like adapt to whatever environment they're in. Like, he can hang out with like rockers and rockabillies. I meant to say rockabillies, not hillbillies. So rockabillies, okay? Oh my God, I'm gonna get myself in trouble. He just, whoever he's around, he kind of turns into that person. So people feel comfortable. And I explain in advance to the bride and to the groom, he does not do any formal shooting. He's just there to document what the guys do. Guys get ready in 15, 20 minutes. Girls take 3 hours, right? So he just kind of hangs out. The guys are most likely drinking by the pool, in the bar, or in the bedroom watching the game. Gets candids of those. In addition to that, he will get the suit and tux untouched. So he'll get it hanging, because if the girl has her dress, the guy might want his tux, especially if it's a custom-made tux or a designer tux, they want that kind of stuff. And if you are thinking about publication, if he's wearing like an Armani or like some type of cool suit, make sure and get photos of that. Shoes, cufflinks, if the bride's into a gift, I want all those details, anything that will help tell the story and document his day. If he's shooting if he's drinking a really cool drink, like an expensive bottle of bourbon, an expensive bottle of gin, make sure and get photos of it, because they're drinking it for a reason. It makes him feel cool, and it will always resonate with that type of photo, and also, again, tells the story of the day. The guy's just hanging out, and a point to keep in mind is that guys want to look cool and girls want to look beautiful, at least my clients. Guys, I mean, they want to look good, but they want to look more or less cool. That's kind of the, if you can make a guy look cool as he's drinking a really expensive, glass of bourbon with a couple pieces of ice, you're a total winner. That's my end-all, be-all goal for that. Moving on, we're flying. How am I doing? Okay, oh good. Yeah? I can't tell time.
4:39.
Okay.
There are 10 clocks up there.
Okay, here we go. Now we're gonna shoot the first look. We arrive early to the location. I will venture to say about 85% of my clients choose to do a first look. If you're interested in a first look, go to my blog, read about it. I talk openly about how I present it to my clients, how beneficial I believe it is. I had a first look myself, so I am, president, and I also use it. How does that go? Please. The men hair product? Okay, gosh. Anybody on the internet, anybody, anywhere. I feel like I'm trying to be funny. It's not landing. God, okay. That lunch break did not do me good. Anyway, I don't only use it, I'm the president. That one?
Rogaine. Isn't it? No?
I know
It could be Rogaine, but it's, anyway.
I know what you're talking about.
Please, internet, please. Okay. First look, we arrive early.
Hair Club for Men.
What?
Hair Club
for Men. What's the slogan? What is the stinking slogan? I need the slogan. It's going to kill me. I'm going to get a nervous twitch. Okay.
I gotta leave you hanging. I don't know.
For Men president, I'm also a client.
Oh, that's
Thank
it.
you. Thank you, whoever that was. Shout out. Okay, first look. We arrive to the location. We find the location in advance so that JD and I connect so that he knows where to meet me without constant communication being on the phone. This is functioning on the assumption that the bride has not indicated to me where she wanted the first look to take place. Of all my weddings last year, I only had one bride request where the first look took place. Once I found that location, told JD, the first look is scheduled for 3 p.m. Please have Donald here at 2:55. That's the conversation we have. I hope to not have to pick up a call from JD thinking, where are we? What are we doing? We establish where the first look will be in advance. He goes with the groom, I go with the bride. When it comes to the first look, what I'll do and what you guys will see on the wedding day, and the interweb will be seeing on the wedding day, we have the groom stationed and set up. What I do is I'll use their names. I'm gonna talk to Laura, I'm gonna describe, Laura, Billy is standing up there and he's waiting for you. Please give me 5 minutes, I'm gonna go say hi. What I'm doing when I go say hi is I will say, Billy, it's so good to see you. I give him a hug. How are you feeling? And I'm like, do you mind if I get just a shot of you just standing here by yourself? I already know that JD has plenty of shots of Billy standing by himself. What I'm doing is I'm getting a camera reading of where I want them so that I'm not being hit out of left field. I'm like, oh, good. Okay, I'm shooting it at 2.5, blah, blah, blah. Awesome, you look so handsome. I'm going to go get Laura. I go get Laura. I said, Laura, follow me in 10 seconds. He looks beautiful. He looks so handsome. He can't wait to see you. Take a deep breath and just soak in the moment. I run back. I wait 5 to 10 seconds. Laura comes out, but I'm not nervous about where my camera settings are. I already know what my camera settings are. JD usually focuses on the groom approaching the bride. I usually focus on the on the groom waiting for the bride. And depending on the location, we are sending in either directions. We don't need to be sitting next to each other. Even if we're using two lenses, I want to get two perspectives. Once he turns around and sees her, his back is to me, so then I flip to this side and JD rotates. All the time JD is rotating away from me, so if you guys are the third shooter, make sure that if you're going to be in anybody's way, be in JD's way. I'm kind of kidding, but not really. Just make sure that even if you want to shoot behind his shoulder with a different lens, totally do that too. Just make sure, because we are in such a tight space, I want to make sure that their photos are still like preserve the sanctity of the moment without like that person in the background, like, you know? So that's what happens on the first look. Okay, and then when they first see each other, we don't say anything. I just want to leave them alone for like 5 minutes. It's like their moment. What they gave up for that moment was her walking down the aisle. By him turning around and seeing her, I want to give them just a moment for him to be like, you look beautiful. Can you believe this is happening? I'm so excited. And we just shoot the conversation. Let them be. The minute they turn to us, that means that they're ready. Great, let's go. Fire it off. 25, 30 minutes with my bride and groom. After that, I bring in the bridal party. Shoot bridal party pose. This is where I try to be creative, but it just depends how much time I have. You know, it's like, at the end of the day, the bridal party pictures are important, but what's going to go in the album is one photo. So I'm not going to spend so much time trying to make this creative photo that may or may not end up in print. So what I do, I simply, when I start with the bridal party, I'm like, hey guys, how's it going? I want to introduce myself, because the guys are always skeptical. Here's this little like fun-sized girl like, hey guys, how's it going? Okay, come here. And they're like, oh my God, who's this girl? The last wedding totally happened. He plays professional polo for the U.S. polo team, and so his best men, or his groomsmen, are huge. They're all like 7 foot, broad-shouldered, blonde, like beefcakes. And I'm like, oh my God, guys, okay, so stand here, and some of them were making fun of me. I just gave it up. I'm like, I don't care. You're not paying me. I don't care. Just stand there and look good. So what happens? Bride and groom in the middle. All the guys stand up on the guy on the side of the guy. All the girls stand up on the girls. The kids right there in the front. Safe picture. Get the picture. Then I have everybody lean in. Everybody squeeze in. And so sometimes people laugh. Sometimes people look the other way. Kind of candid, whatever. Then the bride and groom are looking at each other. They kind of squeeze in like this. JD's shooting tight to get their reactions as everybody's scooting in. I get a candid of that. Then I will do a creative photo. Whatever the creative photo lends itself to be on that time. I only do 3 poses. One traditional, one everybody leaning in, semi-candid, and then one a little bit Vanity Fair diva for me. Because I'm shooting for my clients a safe photo, but I want to shoot the fun photo for me. Nobody really likes shooting the formal photos, but if you can challenge yourself to get a really cool photo that you're proud of, you win. So that's it. That's the entire setup. Then I get the guys, and I shoot, it doesn't matter. Just get the groom, any guy, come in, any guy, come in, any guy, come in, any guy, come in. Great. Girls, shoot the bride by herself, then the girls. Girls come in, girls come in, girls come in. Boom. 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes. Super, super, super straightforward. The pictures that get printed are the group photos. That's it. If the bride doesn't want to have photos with her and each of her bridesmaids, awesome. But, you know, it is what it is. I'm sorry, I'm staring right at you, Victoria.
That's okay.
Am I peering into your
like
soul?
totally taking it all
I was
in.
just like,
Great.
this is a one-on-one mentorship session. You guys are just invited. Okay, here we go. The next one is, okay, after the bridal party photos, I encourage the bride to go get tucked away from early arriving guests. JD and I then go and get into detail mode. This is slightly before guests arrive, so I'm going to go immediately to the ceremony location and get an overall picture of the untouched location. What magazines want is an overall ceremony location untouched by people sitting in the chairs. They want to know the overall vibe and the aesthetic of the day. I go there, that's the first shot that I get because it's done. By that time, a half hour before the ceremony, it's completely finished. I get that photo. Then I do wedding detail photos like aisle flowers, guest book, communion, any type of signage, anywhere, all those details we get. Then we immediately, either JD will stay there and get pictures of early arriving guests, and I'll head over to the cocktail hour. Most parties, like nicer weddings, will have a very nice cocktail hour. So what I'm going over there is I'm getting signage from the guest seating arrangement. Because what happens is I know that I have to shoot pictures after the ceremony, and then people, the cocktail hour, will go and get their seating arrangements, and then I can get a pretty photo that editors absolutely go bonkers. You need that photo if you want to submit to a wedding. So I go immediately over there, get that shot of those photos untouched, get the cocktail hour untouched because it's already set up because the ceremony is just about half hour away, and guests will be there within an hour, so it's done. Then I go back to the ceremony site, and now we're ready for the ceremony. That's when we shoot detail photos of cocktail and ceremony. Okay, here we go. Ceremony. This is pretty much like as straightforward as it's going to be. Oh, one thing that I forgot to mention, if the bride and groom have specialty drinks, sometimes they have like a Mike's Mojito and like a Stephanie's Strawberry Daiquiri, whatever. Always get signage and always get cups. Like that's just another thing that you have to look forward to. I'm pretty sure that Laura and Billy will have signature drinks, so have my back and take a picture of it if you were the third shooter at that time. Okay, ceremony. I stand up towards the front. Being at Theo yesterday, I don't know if we'll be able to have the latitude. It is a small space, but if I can, I'd like to stand behind the preacher and where Billy will stand. So I'm standing behind them as much as possible. I don't think it'll be able to happen in Theo. We'll kind of see, but I'm up at the front, JD's in the back. We get two different angles of the same situation going on. That's backup. Sometimes my lighting on Saturday was pretty awful. As they walked down the aisle, they were extraordinarily hot on this side and dark on this side. I was able to salvage a few of them, but JD's angle where they were all like front lit. Not the best light, but better because it's all continuous. So I chose more of his photos. That's where we stand. We know what we get. He knows that as the bride and her dad are the last people to come, as they turn the corner, he comes into the aisle and shoots them coming from behind because the bride loves that photo of like that last moment of her and her dad. And I'm getting up at the front. I get Billy's reaction. I get Laura's dad giving Laura away, and I get their first moments as union. And then I come out from the back, and then JD and I just rotate. If I'm on one side, he's on the other, and then we just do this like, crisscross. And so where I stand at the kiss, at the very end of the aisle, JD's off to either one side, so he gets a really tight shot of the kiss, and I get a medium size, and if I have enough time to zoom in, a nice tight shot of the kiss too. Okay, so must-have shots, the groom walking in with his groomman trailing behind him. I'm not so concerned with getting individual shots as much as I am interested in getting dynamic shots of what's going on with the scene. Parents walking down the aisle, father-daughter walking down the aisle. As the father-daughter are walking down the aisle, I'm focusing on three main shots. Shots of the bride and her dad vertical from the waist up, because that's the one that magazines really like. Then I get a vertical of complete from head to toe with her dad, and then I get a horizontal shot, if possible, of reactions of her, like a nice tight shot of her reactions with her and her dad. Father giving the bride away, always focus on that hug. That last hug is always emotional. Anytime you want to like evoke emotions, anticipate where the emotional moments will happen. I always get a shot of the parents, both parents looking at the bride and groom, the bridal party looking on, both sides, the bride looking at the groom looking at the bride, a wide angle vertical shot of the ceremony, a wide angle horizontal shot of the ceremony, a tight shot of the bride and groom from the end of the aisle all the way up towards the front. Exchange the rings. JD will get a wide shot. I'll try to focus on the hands, and we'll be standing in opposite sides of each other. Communion, or if they do like any type of special rituals, making sure that you anticipate where that's happening in the ceremony so that one photographer is standing in the right location. And the first kiss, again, JD's standing up towards the front, off to the side. I'm standing down in the aisle. We're flying through these. Are you guys okay? Family focus, family pictures, I already talked about this. So I'll focus on the main picture. JD gets the candids off to the side. Now, for family formals, I just fire these off as quick as possible. I wrote about this on my blog, so if you want more information, you can go there. But Laura talked to me about how much time she should allocate for her family pictures, because I remember speaking to Billy and he said he had a big Irish family. When I hear that, I'm just like, oh my God. This can turn into 45 minutes or an hour of family pictures, which I'm sure are fine, but we don't have the luxury to do that. So I told her, this is what I do, this is what works, and then we can add on from there. So Laura and Billy in the front and center, and then I get a bride's huge side of the family. Her aunties, uncles, cousins, second cousins, godparents, whomever, the whole kit and caboodle. Then I start peeling people away in layers. I move all of the extended family so that I just have her immediate family and grandparents. Then I take her grandparents out, then I just do the immediate family. Then I do just her siblings. Then I do just her grandparents. Then I just do her and her parents. Then I do her parents with Laura, and then on the other side, Billy's parents. Done. Then we bring in Billy's whole side of the family. And we do the same thing on his side. And then after that's done, if we have time, I do individual shots, like Laura and her mom, Laura and her dad. But I'm hoping at this point in the day, I already had candids of this already happening. I don't need to save it for the formalities. If I feel good with that, have my back with that, please, people. If we feel good with that, we can close it and then start moving on to the reception details. Are we okay with that?
Yeah.
If I could shoot the photos like this on both sides of the family, I can get it in 25 minutes. Okay.
And these are all with natural light.
It depends on the location. If I could shoot it natural light, yes.
Okay.
If not, then I'll just have my camera set up with flash. And sometimes for family photos, if I feel like it's really dark, which it might be on that day because it's going to be rainy, I might bring out my off-camera light setup and just set it up behind me, and I'll trigger that instead of using my on-camera flash because it recycles faster. Okay. Okay. If we feel like we didn't get enough time because of the rain on Friday, I will hopefully have about 20 minutes with the couple to see if it's not raining afterward. That is already padded into the timeline. If I feel good about it because Laura decided to wear her wedding dress tomorrow, she was going to wear a different dress for the pictures tomorrow, but she decided because of the rain, she's going to wear her wedding dress, which it's bittersweet. I didn't want her wearing her wedding dress because I wanted the first look to be as first lookish as possible, but at the same time, maybe it's a total blessing in disguise. If it totally rains on her wedding day, she's going to be, that sucks. Like, we can't do what we want to do. So, hey, if this works out, it totally works out to our benefit. If we feel we have enough pictures on that day, awesome. We're done with all formalities. Now it's party central for Laura and Billy, and I tell them that. Now go and party, no more formalities. Then I go to the reception location. I start shooting the reception details. I have that off-camera light set up. JD will do that. Then he goes to cocktail hour, does a quick swoop of cocktail hour. I don't really think cocktail hour pictures are important, but a lot of people do, and I'm going to err on the side of being careful. JD just throws on his 28 and just gets, hey, 6 people, come here, gather together for a picture, gather together for a picture. And he does a quick swoop of the party, then he comes back and helps me. Now, so we went through family photos, sunset photos of the bride and groom, if applicable, cocktail hour, and reception details. Okay, so this is where we're here. Okay, detail photos. I need an overall room shot with everybody cleared out. That's the one that magazines always want to see. So if it's in your possibility, that happens at the beginning when you start shooting because people will start trailing in from cocktail hour. I need a tight shot of the centerpiece. I need a wider shot of the centerpiece in relation to the tablescape. I need the overall tablescape. Note, please remove the salt shakers and the sugar packets. Those will never get published. And even if it's a beautiful table and you have some like equal or sweet and low, cheap. Take it off the table. I always stylize tables. I take butter, salt and pepper, sugar packets, take it off. It's cheap, cheap, cheap when you leave it on there, and it's too easy to remove. Stylize your shoots. Even if you're shooting the ghetto fab weddings, collect what you can on a table and shoot it in such a manner that it looks like it's really full and nice. Don't leave it sparse. That's the thing that always like cheap eyes is. Whatever, your photos. Okay, I also need menu cards. I need the name placards. I need the settings. I need plates and specialty glassware. Are there multiple tables that are styled differently? Not every table that you shoot at a reception, nowadays especially, are all the same centerpieces. If there are 3 types of tables being set up, you need 3 different overall shots of those centerpieces and the overall tablescapes. Cake, I need a tight vertical shot. I need a wider vertical shot, including the stanchion in which it's on. I need a micro detail of any type of stuff on top, if you have a cute husband and groom thing, or just like a tight shot of the upper part of the cake. Then I need a horizontal shot. If there is specialty lighting, like a gobo, if they have like their logo or anything like that, I need to get a shot of the gobo. I need to get a bar shot if they have like a specialty bar, and the band playing softly as people enter. I also need to get shots of the sweetheart table. If they have a sweetheart table, I don't think that they have one tomorrow, but if there was, always get a shot of the bride's name. This is the first time she sees her name as her married name. You do on the sweetheart table. Last week, she was Erica Arbelayes, and on Saturday, she became Erica Alexander. That's the first time she sees her name as Alexander. I need to get a photo of that because that means something to her. Great. Oh, and also if they have toasting glasses. Am I flying too fast? Nope. These are all the things that I just think for those people who are not familiar with shooting extensive things. Grand entrance. I usually shoot the grand entrance with a 50 millimeter. I know I should probably use a zoom lens, but I don't like the way that it looks, and I like the light that I get with my 50. I move according to what I do. I probably can get 2 photos of each couple coming in, and then JD gets 2 photos. Between the 2 of us, we might be able to salvage 2 photos of each couple coming in from different locations. Perfect. Awesome. I then use my off-camera flash. I'm either the foofing against the wall and the lighting from the background. Okay. Oh, and also talk to the coordinator to see where those people, what door, if there's multiple doors, know in advance where your parties are coming in, because there's nothing worse than getting caught off guard. The first dance, we spoke about this earlier, about my lighting setup. I rotate around the dance floor, and I try to make sure that or JD tries to make sure that wherever he is, he's not in relation to where I am. And always finding good light in relation to what your available light is, and see if you can metering for ambient lighting. Okay. Oh, and I only ever shoot the first dance with the 50 and the 85. The 85 is just like, you just get real deep, thick, rich, beautiful, buttery photos with the 85. Formal dances with parents, same setup as the first dance. Same thing, same setting, same lighting setup, the whole nine. Toasts, what I usually do is I try to shoot the wedding as if I am the first shooter and I'm the only shooter. And you can't ever trust what the other person will get. Not that I don't trust JD, but God forbid anything happens, I need to know that I have my back entirely. So on the toast, I'm shooting 2 or 3 shots, save shots of the person giving the toast. Then JD just focuses entirely on the person giving the toast. Then I rotate over to the bride and groom to get the reactions. And then I stay with the bride and groom the whole time. The next person to come up and give the toast, I get the save shot of the person giving the toast. I come over, then I get their reactions. Boom, done. Okay. Dancing shots. I talked to you earlier about what I do for dancing shots. I use ambient lighting. I throw on the 24, get crazy, and you want to make sure that you get people's reactions to what is going on in the dance floor. Formal reception events. Oh, one thing about dancing too is if you feel like your bride and groom aren't dancing, for me, that's how I close my slideshows. For me, it's about the slideshow and about the wedding album. If I am not getting the photos that I need, sometimes I will ask my bride and groom. Sometimes if I feel like she wants to dance and he doesn't, maybe it's like, hey, Johnny, do you think you can go out there and take a quick spin on the dance floor? Then I tell JD, I give him the look. This is the, oh my God, they're gonna dance. We need to fire off as many pictures as we can to get the photo look. He goes over there, boom, 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 and we shoot them. We just need to shoot them for one dance in order to get 13 photos of them dancing. Thank you, we're done, no more formalities. Formal reception events, this is the bouquet and garter toss and the cake cutting. JD and I now know where we stand. If I'm shooting with the 50, he's gonna be shooting with the 28 to get a wide angle of what's going on, the storytelling, and I'm shooting the details. Them actually cutting the cake, him feeding her feeding him. Then we move over to the bouquet and garter. Most likely we're both shooting wide because it's about the story for the bouquet and garter. And I focus on the groom, he focuses on the guys, I focus on the bride, he focuses on the single girls. Slam bam, departure. Always with the departure, you want to make sure and you say, I know it sounds stupid, but I didn't do this for my first couple weddings. Sorry. I didn't say goodbye to the coordinator. I just left, And it was bad because I got gratuity, and because I didn't see her at the end, she knew clearly that I left without saying goodbye because she's like, I need your address because they gave you gratuity, and I was like, oh, that was bad. Be formal, say goodbyes, and even if it's annoying because you're staying past to find that person, it's just the polite thing to do. Oh my God, it's 4:59. Okay, how about we take just a couple questions? I knew I flew through that. A couple questions, and I know everybody needs a breather.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I know, everybody's like, oh my God. I totally spit it out. I am so sorry, but again, we will talk about this briefly tomorrow, but I just want to make sure that I'm on the record, letting you guys know what is going on through my mind. What shots do I need to get? This is what I needed to get. If you guys see me stressed out, you guys now know that little list that I have in my mind. I tell my clients, every wedding that I shoot it as if it's going to be published. Again, goes back to the Zach Arias thing. I will shoot every wedding. If I am getting paid $1 or $10,000, $1 million, I will shoot it and give it my all every single time. It's to benefit of the clients. Did you have? Yes, a question.
I was just wondering how many times you take the bride and groom out, because I could see first look and then the sunset really quickly, and then maybe after the formals. But how long is each session?
The first look is 25 minutes to a half hour, and sunset photos are usually about 10 minutes.
Okay, so altogether you have roughly about
30 to 40 minutes.
To do all your portraits and the fun shots and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And how many?
And that's on a good day. I have been given 25 minutes, and you just got to do it. You have to take. What options do you have? Yeah. And in those cases, you have to be really honest with your second shooter. I turn to JD and be like, we have to work some magic right now. I know what we need to get, and we need to fire it off. And I tell my clients, there's none of this fluff stuff. I'm like, we have 20 minutes. Can you guys give me your best in 20 minutes? If you give me your best, I swear I will get you the best pictures. If somebody says that to you, would you not be like, all right, I'm ready to do it. Let's do this. So yeah, and again, they are investing money in me. Sure. So you have to be honest with them. You can't be warm and fluffy, oh, I'm so happy, and inside you're dying. No, keep it real. Let them know.
So you can't go to several kind of locations and do a bit of scouting and stuff. That would have all been done before, and then you picked it really quickly, and then that's it.
Absolutely. You have to have an executed timeline of what you're doing, because you are literally under the gun.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool.
Can we talk about the editorial shots or the magazines? People are kind of wondering how you get your shots in magazines. Questions like, would you ever let JD's shot be put in the magazine?
His shots are always picked over mine for magazines.
Really?
Always. Always. His shots, because what happens is I will pose them so that I think that they're funky, crazy, cool, but it doesn't sell magazines. That doesn't, because what happens when bride looks through magazines, she wants the warm and fuzzy feeling. She doesn't want the haute couture, because she can look in Vogue and GQ and Vanity Fair for that. She wants to look to the girl who's doing what she wants to do slightly better. That's JD's angle. He always gets the candid, her looking back at him. Oh, editors love that stuff.
So how do you get your photos into magazines?
I have 3, 4, 5 posts on my blog dedicated to just getting featured in magazines and getting featured in blogs. I've interviewed 3 editors from national magazines, The Knot, Inside Weddings, and I got published in Brides, and I was able to talk to them, and I put all that information out on the web. And I also had the opportunity to interview Abby with Style Me Pretty about, she's like the godmother of wedding blogs. So Style Me Pretty is like the grand supreme. Oh my God, does anybody watch Toddlers and Tiaras?
Yes.
Oh, isn't it the trashy show? I know. Oh my God, you guys hate me. You guys just hate me. I repelled half my audience. I watch that show like it's a train wreck. I'm like, no! Oh my God, it's so good. Anyway, so Abby Larson with Style Me Pretty is like the grand supreme. She wears the biggest crown, and so when I asked her, I'm like, hey, can you like help share with my audience what makes a great submission? So she did. She answered a ton of questions. There's a ton of information on the line. Online on my blog, and I definitely think people could look it up there.
Okay,
because it's just too much to get into right now.
Okay, sounds good.
Cool. Any other questions?
Oh yeah, we have a ton of questions. Are you ready? Another question: how do you deal with guests with cameras, and especially during formals?
I let them have their moment. So aunties and uncles will always want to shoot the immediate family. So you step back and be like, I'll say, okay, family, look at everybody here. Look at these cameras. I'm staying in control of the situation. Please look at these cameras. Everybody's going to be shooting the pictures. Oh, great. This is going to be on Facebook. Everybody smile. Look good. Thank you guys so much. I look at everybody. Thank you so much. I totally appreciate it. And I'm going to have everybody look at me. Everybody, can you just look at this camera? Please look at my camera. I'm talking. I just spit. Please don't show that on camera. Hopefully that camera was off because it's like, okay, I look at everybody and I say, everybody look at my camera. I will have my camera over my face and I'm talking. Stay in control of the situation. Everybody look here, no blinking, everybody smiling. Look here, oh my God, you look so great. Grandma, don't look so cute. Snap, 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 snap. Good, we're done. Move on. That's it.
Jasmine.
Yes.
Sorry. How do you get the videographers sometimes who are in your way? Because like I've done a few weddings and like they're in the way, and then you're like, oh, you know what? Sometimes you're kind of too close, and keep an eye out for me, please, because you know you're kind of getting in the way, and then they still do it. How do you manage that?
I've been lucky enough to just try to like be in control of the situation, and a lot of times people will step on you if you allow them to step on you.
Yeah.
Like, clearly, oh, no, I have a strong personality, right? So I'll be like, hey, how are you? Like, if you're the videographer, nice to meet you, my name is Jasmine, blah, blah, blah. Stay in control. Yeah. Always, always, always. Move things fast. Anytime there's a lull, somebody will step in to do what they want to do because they need a shot as well. But there's nothing nicer than you getting what you need and feeling good and being like, hey, you know what? Why don't you take them and do what you want to do? Because then you become the second shooter for the videographer. And the last time we had this wedding, like I had my photos, and he's like, "Do you think I could?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like that was rude of me." I'm like, "That was rude of me. I'm so sorry. Please take them for 5 minutes. We have 5 minutes." And he said, "Great." I became his second photographer. JD became the third photographer, and I got some really cool pictures that weren't not my style, but I think benefited the bride and groom. So they appreciate you just going out of your way and then letting have their turn, and then you getting in control again.
Cool.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. Sorry.
Just have one. Has your schedule ever been screwed up by a vendor?
Yes.
Yes. So what do you do?
Yes.
What do you do?
Like Tim Gunn on Project Runway, make it work.
Make it work.
I watch a lot of TV. Oh my God, it sounds like I watch a lot of TV. I don't. I'm such a reader. I swear I am. I read books. No.
48 hours in your day.
I know. No, I watch reality television when I'm at the gym. I'm always about multitasking. I'm not lying. Okay, so Tim Gunn, make it work. People will screw up with your timeline. The only person who pays for it is the photographer. Nobody else does. It is your responsibility. I always feel like it is my responsibility to get that timeline back on track. Because I know the ceremony is going to start, come hell or high water, at 5:30. No other option. You better make it work. You better turn to your second shooter and be like, help me get this done in 10 minutes. Explain to your clients, we got a little bit of a late start. I will honestly, openly announce, like if I feel like we're running too far behind and the makeup and the hair artist are not on my side, I'll be like, okay, Laura, we're running about 10 minutes behind. Do you think that you can be ready in about 5 minutes? What is she gonna do? She's not gonna say yes. She's gonna turn to her makeup artist and be like, do you think I'll be ready? What is the makeup artist gonna be? No, I need 20 more minutes. She'll be like, we're gonna try. Move it along, stay in control, be on their side and be like, don't worry. I promise if you hurry up, I will get you some awesome photos. You can totally use them on the website. You can blog on Facebook and whatever. I'll take care of you. Let them know that you're on their team, and then they help you like move where you need to go. Okay.
Question from Twitter. PhotoFlow in Twitter has said, we've talked a lot about pretty shoes, and this is the key. What advice would you give to male photographers when dealing with brides? How would you see that being different?
I think you need to approach this as a business thing. Like, this is research and development. If you don't know who Christian Louboutin is, you need to Google it right now. Like, you need to know. You do. I'm not even lying. You need to know who. Like, you need to know how. You need to know what your bride likes. You just do. I don't think it's an inherent advantage to be a girl. I just happen to be interested in a lot of the things that my brides are. But if you're a guy, like, Nike spends millions figuring out who their target market is. They just don't make a shoe and hope it works. They're researching. If you are dating a girl and you're a guy, ask her, like, who is this Christian Louboutin guy? What's the difference between Gucci and Diane von Furstenberg? Talk to me about Vera Wang. Know your designers. Because if you know that a girl has a Priscilla of Boston dress, you know she dropped some dime on that. She has a Melissa Sweet. You need to photograph it like it's a vintage dress. Like, all those types of things you need to take into consideration. Get busy. Don't just hope for the best. You got to make the best. You got to make it work.
And I think the question was not just about the shoes,
right,
but also, like, say, for example, the getting ready shots, and how do you approach it differently when you're a male dealing with the bride?
Research. Who are your girlfriends? Talk to your girlfriends. Ask what they're comfortable with. And I had a male photographer. I was super comfortable with him, but I'll say this to his face: he's diva. Like, he knows he dresses well. I liked that about him. But again, he might repel people. It doesn't matter. I was attracted to that. I felt comfortable with that. When I got into my dress, he asked me, what are you comfortable with? And I said, well, I just want to get into my dress, so if you could just wait into the bathroom. And then my dress was undone from the back, so he got me getting most of the dress up, and he came back out, and my mom and my sister zipped me, and he got me from behind, and he went around to the front and shot me. I was very comfortable with him, but I think that it was because he was comfortable in his own skin. If guys are like, oh, what is this doodaddy sparkly shoe? If somebody was like that trying to shoot my shoes that I had spent $800 on, I would be like, those doodaddies were a bit. Be educated about what you're doing and care, because your client cares very much about how much you spend. So,
speaking of your photographer,
yes.
I'll just ask one more question.
Yeah, one more question. Cool.
Where you said you contacted him and said, you couldn't afford him, but he said he would work it out with you. Does that happen with you? Will you negotiate?
Okay, that's not a question for me. The short answer is no, I don't. Okay. I really don't, because I know that I don't want to shoot 50 weddings. I just want to shoot 20 to 25. 23 is like that nice little golden number. 23, 24 is where I need to be. And I want people to make that investment. I want them to want me to be there. So if people ask, do you discount for friends or family? Well, my sister's getting married, and what kind of jerk would I be if I charged my sister? That's like family fights right there. So I come from the school of thought, if I'm close enough to you, I will shoot your wedding as my gift to you. And if I'm not that close to you, I will send you my collection menu.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
Do we have more questions in the audience?
Well, on that note, where do you draw the line between somebody that's your sister and someone who's your sister's best friend, or somebody that you knew in high school, or somebody that you worked with at an old job? Is it just sort of your family, so it's free, and you're not family,
different. So everybody's different. For me, people think that I'm very, very, very open, and perhaps I am, but for the people who really know me, people know that I'm fiercely private. Fiercely. I guard my privacy to no degree. So the people who are in my little circle, and that circle is tiny, I will shoot it free, no questions asked. Anyone who's not in that, it's not even a question for me anymore. You're paying me for what I do, and I want you to value that. So, yeah. Let's not end on that note. Let's end on a happy, warm, and fuzzy question. Shoes.
What's your favorite reality show?
My favorite reality show? Oh, there's too many to list. I love Project Runway. I love Jersey Shore. How different. Gosh, I love Toddler and Tiara. Oh my gosh, I hated it, but I used to watch John and Kate +8. I used to. Awful, right? I don't even have kids. Total hot mess, tragic train wreck. I don't watch Kate +8 anymore. I don't know. I watch a lot. Like, I even watch Cake Boss every once in a while. I mean, it's awful. What?
Ocho Cinco?
No, JD,
You wanna watch
occasionally,
it. You wanna watch it.
occasionally I want to, but there's too much drama with, like, Ocho Cinco and, like, all those other girls in the house.
I
So,
just gave myself up.
yeah. But see, I know. Clearly, I know enough about Ocho Cinco to know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Bachelorette. Oh, I watched that.
Okay, I have another question.
Yes.
Someone has said that the bridal party usually wants you to drink and dance at the wedding, the photographer. Is that
do?
true?
I'm
Have
clearly
you ever
boring.
have you ever danced at a wedding or
Well, the large answer is no, but last October I had a bride whose wedding we shot in Syracuse, and the DJ stopped everything and he said, the bride would like to play a special song for her wedding photographer. It was California Dreamin'. And she took me out on the dance floor, and what am I going to do? Like, you know? So you have to kind of dance a little bit, and I was just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then the bridal party came out, and then everybody started dancing, and I was like, okay, give me my camera back. So yeah, that was a little bit but no, they're not paying me to dance, you know?
Yeah.
You
And
just
don't-
dance away from it. You're like, hey!
you don't drink? You don't drink because I'm sure
No.
as people keep drinking, they keep asking you, "Can I get you a drink? Can I get
no,
you a drink?"
oh no. You're also not paying
You're
me
working.
to drink either.
Yeah.
Like I am very much working. But to each his own. I know other photographers that enjoy a glass of wine with their meal. That's totally fine. I'm not gonna try to party with my vendor meal. You know, like my sandwich and my glass of Merlot. Like no, thank you. Water is fine. My camelness comes out. Yes.
When you're doing a family or friend's wedding,
Yeah.
how are you still being a guest, or are you not?
Well, this is, I don't know.
You haven't
I'll
done it.
answer this question in 2 weeks. I've never done this.
Okay.
My best friends, I love them all, and they're all single. And
Okay.
so my sister's like the first one of us to like go out and do it. So we created a hybrid of sorts, and oh my gosh, if you can believe this. So this is my bride. I adore this girl. Okay, adore her. She's from Phoenix, Arizona. Excuse me, Scottsdale, Arizona. I shot her wedding in Scottsdale last October. We hit it off, and she's a photographer. I simply adore her. I trust her implicitly. And my sister also was looking for photographers to help me on the wedding day because JD will not be shooting with me. I wanted him specifically to relax. So I will be the first shooter for the day, except for the ceremony. I asked Stephanie to come along and shoot the ceremony for us because our styles are similar enough, but there's this thing about her that I implicitly trust, and she's also my bride. She knows how I work, and I can trust that about her. So I'm excited. But after the first dance, I told my sister, after the first dance is over, my camera is down, and I am hosting and having fun with everybody else.
Okay.
So it'll be a hybrid of sorts. So we'll
Okay.
see how it goes. Yes.
What percentage of your photography jobs are there in Orange County where you are, and that you travel out for destination weddings?
Okay, that's a really good question. So the thing about Southern California is that it's really widespread, but it's really, really small in sorts because like my market theoretically reaches from San Diego to Santa Barbara because I can drive to them in just 2 hours either way from where I live. So that's my market. But I will say that I do about 40% in Orange County, 40% in Los Angeles. There's a high crossover. It's just a simple drive. So 40 in Orange County, 40% in LA, and 20% destination.
Cool.
I like that mix too.
Sounds like a rough life.
Well, I mean, people always say like how exciting it is to travel for destination, and it is. It's so exciting, but it's also very stressful. I'm not going on a vacation. I'm taking my entire business in a backpack, and I'm taking a red eye to a location. I'm getting a rental car, all groggied and like crusty, getting to the hotel, checking in, and if they don't have early check-in, JD and I have to go and do some things. We'll get a bite to eat, still feeling completely out of sorts, go back to the hotel room, take a nap, get back up, connect with the bride and groom, see if they want us to document the rehearsal dinner if they paid us for that. Or JD and I will go out on a date, because Friday night is date night. We'll go out and see a movie somewhere. We go back to the hotel room. We wake up. We shoot the wedding. We party up until like midnight. We come back to the hotel room and leave on the first flight home. Like, it's very like business, go, go, go. So I'm there to do a job. Like, when somebody pays me to go there, I'm going there focused on just what it is to do. So it's nice, but it's a lot of work too. A lot of work. So, Craig, we're good. We're going to wrap it up. How do I wrap things up? I've never done this
I
before.
don't know, we just look for a good question to go out on. Was that a good question?
I think it's a good question. It's a good question as any. Yeah. Does anybody else want to ask me, Warm and Fuzzy? No pressure. Okay. I think that's it. I think it's been a totally good day. I totally appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Everybody on the web, what camera's on? Camera? Nobody's filming. They're like, we're done with this girl. Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, okay. Well, everybody watching on the internet, thank you so much for tuning in. You guys, thank you for being here. I promise tomorrow will be a lot more get up and go. But just wanted to lay the foundation. So thank you guys.
You rock.
Very
Thank you.
much. Yay.
Folks are saying it was their best day ever.
Applause. Applause on the internet.
Okay, cool. Great.